Rose is a trainer, facilitator, and motivational coach. She brings over 25 years of combined training and development, HR management, and executive search and talent experience. She's the founding director of RK Impact Consultancy. One of the only qualified ID practitioners in Tanzania, Rose conducts psychometric diagnostic profiling and leads a series of training programs related to personal development, team leadership, and organizational effectiveness. In fact, she's trained many of us teachers too. So if we are able to present ourselves well, if we are speaking well, thanks to Rose.
Thank you very much, Shweta. Was that actually me you just described? Wow. Okay. I'm going to start off with a little story. I'm going to start off with a story, and I'm going to end the story at the end of the 15-minute session I have. So there was this lady that should, but wouldn't, couldn't, didn't, or did she? This lady had some aspirations in life. She knew what she wanted to become. And for years, she was stuck in some very low-level administrative roles. And she struggled to get out of that. She wanted to get into marketing. And she managed to get into marketing through merit, through hard work, through volunteering as well, proving that she could actually do marketing, and she took some side courses as well. And she got stuck at an assistant level position. She really got stuck there for many years. She strived to get on to wanting to become a head of marketing or a marketing manager. And finally an opportunity did come up, and she spoke with her manager, her boss, and he encouraged her to apply. The only problem was that it was in a different part of the country, which meant she would have, if she was accepted, she would have to relocate with her family. And that was a challenge. Surprisingly, her family was very supportive. Her husband and both her children were very encouraging. They knew how much she had struggled, and they relocated. She starts her new job as a marketing manager, very excited, fully aware that she was capable of doing it and being a successful marketing manager for this company. And when she got to the company, one of the things she was asked to do was make presentations to groups of people. She had to pitch. She had to pitch the services they were providing. She had to pitch the products they were providing. And that is one thing that petrified her, to the point where it actually paralyzed her. And she would freeze up. She could not speak in front of more than 2 people at a time. So she begged for small groups, small meetings, but that wasn't happening. So her manager actually enrolled her to take some professional training in presentation skills, and she did. She started this course program, and if you know anything about such a course, what they do is they start off by telling you to go to the front of the class and give a 2-minute talk on anything you want to talk about, any subject, and you're videotaped, so you're recorded. And then you go into the program and you learn all the skills, the presentation skills, the communication skills, how do you connect with people, how do you speak with an audience, and so on. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the program, again, you now have to pick a topic and speak for 10 minutes and make a presentation along with slides. And you record it. And then you get to see the difference of progress you've made. Well, first day in class, guess who was chosen first to get up and speak for 2 minutes? This lady. This lady who couldn't, wouldn't, didn't. At that point in time, a thought went through her mind, split-second thought. God, let me faint so that they call an ambulance and they get me out of here. But that didn't happen. She went up, she called out her name, and then she froze. She froze. And so the instructor, seeing her discomfort, asked her to have a seat, and she could present maybe after a break, after the morning break. Well, the morning break came, she never came back. She did not return. So she went home and immediately wrote a resignation letter because she felt she wasn't justified or qualified to be a marketing manager, and handed in her resignation the next day. She went into depression. She felt worthless. She felt she was back to square one, that she was only good at a coordinator level position, and that's where she belongs. And it was a very, very bad phase in her life. So I'm going to stop my story there, and I'm going to end at the end of my talk. So who has heard of the word mojo? I see a hand go up there, a few hands at the back. Yeah. Mojo actually is an African word that came about in early 20th century. And what that meant at that time was magic powers. Magic powers. It had to do, in those days, it had to do more with sorcery and voodoo and magic. Okay? In modern times, the word mojo evolved. And more it was used in a different context, in the context of it is a superpower, it is something that you have that attracts people to you. Okay? And that's how the word started to evolve in today's times. So your mojo is what you have as a result of you being more self-aware of yourself. So it's really important, before you start even thinking about a degree or a career, do you know who you are? Have you identified your mojo? Do you know what's your gift? Your mojo is your oomph. Your oomphiness that is tied to your soul, to your spirit. And that is called mojotivity, that state that you're in. Once you find your mojo, you're in the state of mojotivity. And once you're in the stage of mojotivity, then you are ready now to make your choices that work for you, not choices that work for somebody else. Remember, when you say yes to somebody, you may be saying no to yourself. And is that where you want to be in life? So I was asked to speak a little bit about my journey. And it's a very long journey, so I'm going to have to cut it really, really short. But my journey actually started probably when I was around 5 or 6 years old. I was a painfully shy kid, painfully shy, and very happy to sit in a little corner and be forgotten. And I led a very sheltered life, and I was very happy in my little sheltered, comfortable life. I was an avid reader. I read a lot. I got lost in my world of imagination whilst I was reading. And my favorite books were Enid Blyton books, The Famous Five, I think you can now guess my age, and Nancy Drew. Mystery, magic, adventure is where I got lost in that world. Little did I know that I was actually feeding my imagination. And realization came to me a little bit later. So I was a reader, I was curious, And because I was such a shy child, I would express myself in writing. I used to love to write. And I used to love to draw and sketch and paint. And my father, my bless his soul, was very supportive of that. Very supportive. So he would buy me, lots of books and lots of colors and lots of, things that I needed to be able to express myself through writing and through art. As time went on, I realized that realization number one came to me that I am an artist. I'm talented, so I've got a talent. Realization number two came to me that I can write with ease, so I have a talent. Wow, that's pretty awesome. But wait. There is a difference. There is a difference between talent and gift. Did you know that? Did you know that there is a difference between talent and gift? So, if I take my situation, my gift, was my high sense of imagination. I could imagine things. That was my gift. That fed my soul. So my oomphiness that I talked about earlier was aligned with my soul and spirit. That's where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. Okay? My talent was art, to be able to draw, to be able to paint. My talent was to be able to write. Now can you see the difference? Yeah? Okay? So if I take my gift and I transpose it, it could come out as a teacher. If I take my imagination gift, transpose it, it could come out as a painting. If I take my gift, transpose it, it could come out as a book. If I take my imagination, transpose it, it could come out as a coach. If I take my imagination and transpose it, it can come out as a speaker, which is what I'm doing right now. Imagination was my gift, which I discovered as I was growing up, but I had no idea that that was my mojo. Mojo word didn't even exist at that time. So I realized as I was growing up that I had to find joy in everything that I did. Even if it was something I hated to do, or I disliked, or it was a drag, or it was a chore, I looked for what was joyful in that space at that time. Yeah? Sorry, speaker that I am, but I do need my notes to keep me on track. So as I was actually, this realization came to me yesterday. As I was working through my presentation, my slides, I came across the 42 to 2.47 ratio. What do I mean by that? I mean that I have actually changed, shifted, modified my career 2.7 times over the last 42 years of my career, which equates to, in my case, 5 career changes in 42 years. 5. And my colleagues here, my peers, mentioned that as well, that you will go beyond what you imagine you're going to be doing today. And in that 42 years, I had 17 job opportunities, 17. So you might say, jack of all trades, master of none. That's what she is. I completely reject that, completely. Who said you have to be a master of anything? Who said? Did anybody say that? Look at the greatest artists. Look at the greatest creators. Look at the greatest writers. Look at the greatest engineers and doctors. They continue to learn and evolve and grow. You will never be master of anything in life because life evolves, careers evolve. What you were exposed to today, in my times, we were not exposed to that. There were maybe 5 career options: doctor, dentist, lawyer, engineer, accountant to choose from, right? Who said I can't be multi-talented, multi-gifted? Who said I have to be stuck in one position for any length of time? Nobody. So relax, guys, relax, okay? Look for opportunities to grow. Over the years, I built a treasure box full of stuff that I am able to use today. I used to hate being in legal field, which I dabbled into for a bit. I didn't like it at all because it wasn't creative enough. But I learned something from it. I learned how to read and write contracts and agreements and legalese. And now that helps me today in my own profession when I have to write an agreement for an assignment or I have to review an employment contract. I'm able to read the legalese. So I've been able to extract whatever I could, even from a space that I didn't want to be in or enjoy or was not joyful. So let's look at my career path here. That's the previous one, yeah. So we know my gift is imagination. We know that my talent is creativity. So what happened here? So the light blue circles right at the top is where I started my career. So this is what happened. Years and years ago, I used to live in Tanzania. I was born here. Years and years and years ago, we got a visa, we meaning myself, my parents, and my sister got a visa to immigrate to Canada. And I applied to go to fashion design school because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into fashion designing. And there was a gap of about 10 months before we could actually leave the country. And I had nothing to do. I'd finished high school, and my parents said, well, you need to do something that, you know, you take away as a skill in case, just in case, that, you know, something to fall back on. That just in case that somebody just mentioned. I don't know who it was because my back was to you. That degree, just in case. So I did. I went to, in those days, secretarial schools were very big, and becoming a secretary was a very good thing to do. And I did. I learned shorthand. I learned typing. I learned how to take dictation, and so on. Not for a second thinking I'm ever going to use it. No, I want to be a fashion designer. And then we went to Canada. We moved. And life happened. Life did not happen the way I saw it or planned it. And I had to find a job very quickly. And my first job was that of a stenographer at Bank of Montreal. Does anybody know what a stenographer does? No, I didn't think so. So stenographer is somebody who will take dictation. So my boss would dictate in a little tape recorder something that he wanted typed, a letter or report, whatever it might be. And then I would actually put my earphones on and I would type it out. That's what a stenographer does. How exciting for somebody who wants to be a fashion designer. But I had to do it because life does happen. Okay, there was a curveball and I had to flow with the curveball. I could not resist, I could not fight it. I had to flow with it. Stenographer led me to secretary, and I remember my father saying this to me. He said to me, Rose, whatever you choose to become, even if it's to be a janitor, be the best janitor you can be. Be the best janitor you can be. That stayed with me for a long time, and it still stays with me even today. So I grew from a stenographer, I was promoted to a secretary, I was promoted to be promoted from a low-level secretary to an executive assistant to a CEO, huge deal. And then I went into admin coordinator, and then I became an office manager. Wow, I'm a manager. But guess what? I was not happy. The money meant nothing. The promotions meant nothing, other than I was learning skills along the way. But I was not feeling joyful. I was not aligned. I was being connected with something out there, a market out there, or a product out there. But I wasn't connecting with a person. And suddenly I realized I want to connect with people. I want to look at people in their eyes, and I want to know what they're thinking, what are they feeling, where do they want to go, what are their challenges, what are their triumphs, what are their successes. I wanted to know more of that. So, again, life happened, and I went sideways, and I got into the legal area. And again, something that I said, okay, I'm doing this for the sake of doing it because I have no choice right now, but I will. And I didn't like it, but I'm glad I did, because I learned something from it, and it added to my box of treasures. I then decided I wanted to go back to being creative. I had babies, so I was a stay-at-home mom at that time, and I decided that I wanted to get back into my art. So I started painting. I actually opened a gallery, and I was a professional artist for 6 years, and I loved it. That was me. And that was where I could get lost in my little world of imagination and meet people at the same time. But it didn't pay very well. And so I had to think about, okay, so I supplemented that with being an art teacher for a while. Then I decided I wanted to do something different. I was never sitting still. I was always up to something. I went into interior design because somebody said to me, wow, you have such an aesthetic eye. And your home is beautiful, and I love the colors on the wall, and so I thought, hey, maybe I can explore getting into interior designing, and I did. I got my diploma, and I actually worked as an interior designer for I think a year and a half, and then the economy dived. There was a recession in Canada, and nobody wanted to hire an interior designer. They were quite happy with their torn sofas at home, right? So the only jobs I could get was to sell carpets. I'm not going to sell carpets. I don't have a streak of selling skill in me, nor do I have any desire to be a seller. So, okay, I went from that, and then came breakthroughs, breakthrough moments. Again, life happened positively, and I entered the world of recruiting and talent hunting. And I quite enjoyed it. And during this time, I got a voluntary opportunity whereby we were working with newly arrived immigrants in Canada from Syria and Afghanistan. And the women the women population of these immigrants were our targets. So our objective was to make them economically independent in Canada. And they come from a very different school of thought, culture, behavior. So during that process of helping these women, I discovered another talent, my ability to help people, my ability to help improve quality of life of other people, my ability to help other people help themselves. Hey, a new discovery. That led me into human resource. This was about 25 years ago. Love the profession, love the changes and the outcomes it can bring. From that point, I decided that I was actually not, I was feeling a bit stifled because I was not able to to grow with somebody else's agenda. I needed my own agenda. I needed to work with my own goals. And I then turned into becoming an entrepreneur. For the first time in my life, I had no steady income, but I took the risk because I followed my gut and I followed my mojo. And when you follow your mojo, things happen. And things did happen. I became an entrepreneur about 3 years ago. I would never go back to working for anyone. I might have 20 bosses, 20 clients, but I call them my partners, not my bosses, not my clients, my partners. And so, love what I do. Whilst being an entrepreneur in the last 3 years, I got my accreditation as an insights discovery psychometric practitioner, and I got into training and development, people development. I became a facilitator and trainer, and I am now working with Strathmore University, Kenya, to become a professional coach. And guess what? Whilst doing all of this, I am a student, I'm an explorer, I am a creator, I'm a mom. I take my roles very seriously as a homemaker, and I'm a volunteer, and I'm constantly moving, and I will not stop moving. And all those little bubbles that are sitting empty are going to grow, and they're going to be labeled. So if I've worked for 42 years, I still have another 50 years of work to do. But you know what? Guess what? It doesn't feel like work. It's joyful. I love it. I love looking at you. I love speaking with you. I love connecting with you. And if I can do that for the rest of my life, who wants retirement? I'm retired already. So I won't go deeper into this because I think we are pressed of time, but if you're self-aware and you know what is your mojo, some of the skills you do want to develop as you go along are what you see on this tree. These are essential skill sets to have, very essential. And these are the skills that you may not find in your degrees. These are the skills you'll get as you fill up that treasure box of yours through experience, through volunteering, right? Okay. And we do lose our mojo. Our mojo sometimes fades away, sometimes disappears, sometimes there's a tragedy, we lose ourselves, we lose our job, we become depressed, and we lose our mojo. If found, please send back with a healthy dose of butt kicking. And one day, when we have time, I'd be happy to share my butt kicking moments, and they were painful. They were really, really painful. But they were worth it. Man is most nearly himself when he achieves the seriousness of a child at play. Elizabeth Gilbert, a very famous author and a speaker now, said it really well. Be childlike, not childish in life. Be childlike, not childish. Childish is when I want this, and if I don't get this, I'm going to throw a temper tantrum. And this belongs to me, and I don't have a nice job, and I don't have a nice family, and excuses, complaints, negativity. Childlike. Being childish. Being childlike is to approach the world with wonder, with openness, with joy, always keeping that joy in mind. Yeah? So, the lady that should but couldn't, wouldn't, didn't, actually did. She actually did. And you're looking at her. That is my story. Oh, in conclusion, stay on your game. Get out of your comfort zone, because if you don't, you won't discover a new mojo. And be brave. Thank you.